Welcome back to Mana Central. I'm Sam.
And I'm Kenny. This week we're back to bring you our top 10 favorite cards from Eldritch Moon.
And because we like to cheat and there were a lot of great cards in Eldritch Moon, we're going to start off with honorable mentions. And my honorable mention is Heron's Grace Champion. 2 of anything, a white and a green, for a 3/3 human knight, that has flash and has lifelink. And it's a 3/3, and when it enters the battlefield, other humans you control get +1/+1 and gain lifelink until end of turn. And I had a lot of experience with this guy at the pre-release. He was one of the reasons I ended up building the deck that I chose to build. And every time this guy showed up, I was very happy. And, oh, great, more stuff for green-white humans. But seriously, it was awesome.
Yeah, no, and the flash is pretty substantial as far as his attacks are concerned.
90% of the time it was during combat that
just
he
right in.
To come out.
And then he's just a 3/3 threat with lifelink. I mean, you get the life gain back, you flash him into play.
Even if you're chump blocking, you could end up taking out bigger stuff. You gain life. It was amazing.
Yeah, he's a solid green-white addition.
Absolutely.
All right, now my honorable mention is something you might not expect, but because I am who I am, this is a card I went with. It's Tree of Perdition. For 3 and a black, you get a 0/13 creature plant. Has Defender, and tap, exchange target opponent's life total with Tree of Perdition's toughness. Now,
what? Kenny, when are you ever going to need to reduce your opponent's life to exactly 13?
I don't know, maybe Triskaidekaphobia?
What?
I really like the idea that Wizards went out of their way to create a card that was going to complement Triskaidekaphobia. That card has been a nuisance since it came out in Shadows.
Was that on your Shadows list?
Did
we do a Shadows list?
I think, yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a fun card. You're going to get a chance to put out Triskaidekaphobia and then play Tree of Perdition, probably turn 4 or 5.
Or ideally Tree of Perdition and then Triskaidekaphobia.
Yep.
Just to be a jerk.
And then swap that life total, their upkeep, boom, it's over. And I just think that's a lot of fun. It seems like it'll be a card that probably won't see a lot of standard play, but
when it does,
it'll be
very upset that you lost.
Exactly.
All right, next up is my number 5. My number 5 is Tammy Field Researcher. She's 1 of anything, 1 green, 1 white, and 1 blue for a Planeswalker that starts with 4 loyalty. Her +1 is choose up to 2 target creatures. Until your next turn, whenever either of those creatures deals combat damage, you draw a card. And it's any type of combat damage, not just to you or like damage to a player or creature. So if you get advantage for them hurting you, which is nice, or hurting Tamio. Her -2 is to tap up to 2 target non-land permanents, and they're not going to untap during a controller's next untap step, which is amazing.
Yeah, always
I see her, I totally see the play being Tamio -2 +1 -2 +1 just until she's gone, and that's amazing. Yeah. Her -7, if you get there, is draw 3 cards. You get an emblem with you may cast non-land cards from your hand without paying their mana cost. Which is awesome. I do think she fits into a lot of the banned decks we've seen in Standard. I could see her being like a 2-of in a lot of those decks and making sense.
Totally.
I like her. I like her a lot.
Yeah, she has a lot of serious potential, especially alongside decks that might be doing a little bit more of, probably not necessarily Super Friends, but something that will include Oath of Gideon, where you'll get that extra loyalty boost right off the bat.
Oh, that'd be phenomenal.
And you start building her up. I mean, we're probably not going to see her bomb terribly often, but when it happens, it's just going to be just so great to watch how that match plays out, because at that point, that player's not casting anything anymore. They're just playing cards as they draw.
Absolutely.
Which would just be so fun to see. But yeah, otherwise, her -2 is just the greatest slowdown for your opponent, just delaying it turn after turn, and you get some nice acceleration from having to take damage. So, Tammy Field Researcher.
She's great.
And for my number 5, we have Lift Fragment. Again, I'm that player that, albeit I like to be competitive and I want to be a competitive player, I like to pick the fun cards. And this one was very fun to me. You have cripta Lift Fragment, which is an artifact for 3 of any. Comes into the battlefield tapped, but it taps for 1 mana of any color. At that point, each player loses 1 life. At the beginning of your upkeep, if each player has 10 or less life, you transform cripta Lift Fragment. Now, keyword there being each player. So if only you have 10 or less, doesn't work. If your opponent has 10 or less, doesn't work. But if you're both in a very tight pinch in a very good match where you're both just beating each other up, this will flip and become Aurora of Emrakul, a 1/4 flying death touch that whenever it attacks, your opponent loses 3 life. And so at this point, you've got a really nice accelerator. Just flies over, deals damage, death touch, gonna kill anything that has the ability to block it if they're willing to block. Either way, they're losing 3 life every time it attacks. It doesn't even have to connect.
It's interesting. It's a really interesting card. Each player thing throws me off. I don't want to be in a position where me and my opponent have less than 10 life.
Yeah, it makes it a little more challenging to reach that. But it's neat. I like it. It's an Eldrazi reflection.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, now we're at my number 4. My number 4 pick is Mirrorwing Dragon. It's 3 of anything and 2 red for a 4/5 dragon with flying. And whenever a player, so either you or your opponent, casts a spell that targets only Mirrorwing Dragon, that player copies it for each creature that they control, and the copies target a different one of those creatures, which is insane to me.
Yep.
If I try to kill it, I'm also wiping my entire board. If I have it on my side of the board and I buff it, I'm buffing my entire team. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's a very, very crazy powerful card. That's obviously why it's a mythic.
So awesome. And when I first saw this card, when it was first spoiled, I was blown away.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way. This is so awesome. I am in love with this card. It's like, cool, I'm going to Lightning Axe your Mirrorwing Dragon. It's like, cool, you just Lightning Axed your whole team, so I'll take it.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
If it becomes a target at all, there's either going to be great benefit or dire consequences. There's no losing with this card.
Great.
As a 4/5 for 5.
With flying, it's like, it's just,
with flying,
it can deal a ton of damage. It can.
It's like the ultimate alternative hexproof. Instead of actually being proof,
it discourages your opponent from targeting it and encourages you to target it with your stuff. It's like, cool, I'm gonna.
And instead of being, you can't target it, it's like, if you target it, just know. Just know. And now for my number 4, Harmless Offering. Now, this card has been decidedly the cutest card in this set.
Is it though?
Yeah.
What's up with that cat's tail?
That tail.
Got a weird snake
But it's
mouth.
it's a smiley, happy cat.
Well,
it's a little kitten. It's probably going to be pretty happy when it's eating everything in the town.
That's true. That will probably happen.
2 of anything in a red. For a sorcery, target opponent gains control of target permanent you control. I have a feeling this card is going to be just bonkers in Modern. And even in Standard right now, we still have Demonic Pact as something that's as a threat in Origins. So
give it to your opponent and be like, try to remove it. You have 4 turns. Do your best.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, you can expect that any opponent that's not playing Demonic Pact in their deck.
I feel like all Demonic Pact decks will become black-red decks.
Oh yeah, and generally with Demonic Pact decks, they have some sort of answer. Whereas in this case, if you're playing that and your opponent's playing green-white something, I mean, I'm not saying that it's going to be competitive against.
I was like, well, Dramoka's Command will absolutely get rid of this.
That's true.
I will sacrifice that Demonic's back in the heartbeat if I have to.
But you could just be like, I'm going to use these 3 things, and then I'm going to Harmless Offering this Demonic Pact over to you, and
see what happens. You enjoy your 4 turns before the game is over.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a number of other things that you can do with this card.
And a commander in like a Zedru commander deck or something to where you get cool stuff when your opponent takes your stuff. It's
It's a pretty fun card.
Kitty.
Yeah, this is just a little guy.
Nothing to see here. Just take this cat for no reason.
Hey, it's just a harmless offering.
I like that his like thumb is bandaged too, because like
because
the cat tail
Totally.
has attacked him.
Probably.
Because, sure, just have this kitten.
You never know. This may have been post
Nothing to see here.
or prior to the just cats being mean.
It's also cats being mean. All right, my number 3 pick is a common, which is crazy for me because normally I'm all about the rares, so I don't really care about the commons. I know, right?
This guy.
Galvanic Bombardment is hands down one of the craziest cards in the set. It just screams value. So it's 1 red for an instant that deals X damage to target creature, where X is 2 plus the number of copies of Galvanic Bombardment in your graveyard. So when you cast it, it's 2. When you cast your second one, it's 3. When you cast your third one, it's 4. And standard, yeah, it would be super cool to have 4 of these, but where I'm just so crazy excited for this card is limited when you're building a draft deck and people keep passing you Galvanic Bombardments.
Yeah.
Like, I would take as many as possible.
I mean, I wouldn't consider it like a first pick out of the draft, but as they come around, I mean,
I would easily like second pick this card.
Oh, yeah.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, it's strong for the fact
someone
that
passed me, great, because I would expect to see at least a couple more coming around.
Common, yeah, you can definitely expect that it'll be there. So for draft, I mean, even for sealed, it's got some very strong capability in this. And
I didn't see any of the pre-release in my pre-release pack, and I was very upset because I was hoping to get at least like 2 or 3.
I don't think I did either. Weird, right?
It was a weird pre-release. We had a weird pre-release experience where I did fairly well, which is super unusual for me because normally I'm horrible at limited.
And I did about as good as anybody expect I might. But Galvanic Bombardment here, definitely some serious burn value.
Great card.
All right, once again, it may come as a little bit of a shock because you expect me to be talking about some cards of some serious value. But
I feel like you can't keep saying that anymore because all of your cards have been... Now, this may come as a shock to you.
But I actually think this card's going to have some serious value in black-red vampires or even some sort of mono builds. Voldaren Pariah. 3 of anything and 2 black for a 3/3 flying vampire horror. It comes onto the battlefield for potential madness of 3 black, and you can sacrifice 3 creatures to transform it. When you transform it, it becomes Abolisher of Bloodlines, a 6/5 Eldrazi vampire with flying. When it enters the battlefield, your opponent sacrifices 3 creatures, and then you just have a monstrosity of a 6/5 flyer on your hands. And
I love that like creepy art thing with the goat head and the...
it's terrifying. But I mean, it was such a strong card in Limited. When we were playing at our pre-release, that was definitely where we got a little bit of experience with it. It was a very, very strong card to stand up against. A lot of the times they were able to get out some very small creatures very quickly, and then the next thing you knew, sacrifice all 3, transform Voldaren Pariah, you got an Abolisher of Bloodlines, you lost your board, and it's just over. It was
a mono black madness deck that we've been tinkering around with. This and Call the Bloodline has been amazing.
Yeah.
Putting out vampires, sacrificing them to this guy,
There's a lot of fodder to make this card have the gas to flip and really create some tension for your opponent, and I think it deserved a place in the top 10 because of that. It's a little bit on the expensive side CMC-wise, but it can come out for as little as 3 mana, and it can be absolutely devastating.
Kenny doesn't believe in having mythic rares on his top 10. It's a personal thing for him. It's not actually true. Do you have any?
We'll see.
Okay. Number 2 on my list is Eldritch Evolution.
What? You want to talk about that card that's going to get banned in Modern right away?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
All right.
As you could probably tell from my list, I love cards that do crazy things. Like 1 of anything and 2 green and sacrificing a creature to search your library for a creature card that costs 2 more or less than the sacrificed creature, and just put it onto the battlefield in main phase 2 after you've already attacked with this creature that you're going to sacrifice and upgrade. And it's insane. It is insane, and I love it so much.
It's such a great card.
You know, I'd love to build a deck around it, but I have a history of building fun new modern decks and then having them get banned almost immediately. Thank you, Amulet Bloom, the deck that almost was, but then wasn't.
Yep, that happened.
But I love Eldritch Evolution. It's so great, especially with really 4 copies of it. It's like, you know, turn 4, you're trading in your 3 drops for 5 drops. Turn 6, you're trading in your 5 drops for 7 drops. And it's just... I love it. I love it so much. Yeah. So much.
You're leading yourself off to some serious acceleration really fast. Just
getting out right? Just crazy.
And the only reason I believe that it's going to get banned in Modern is because it's not search your library for converted mana cost X or less, where X is 2 plus blah blah blah. It's the fact that it says not to your hand, but to the battlefield.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I'm just gonna do this, and then Dragon Lord Atarka, or you know,
on like turn 4 or 5.
Just super early on. It's stupid how powerful this card is and will be, and it's so great.
It's so great.
It
really is.
We're down to 2. Number 2 for me is Nerys Wrath, and I love it. I mean, it would be even more phenomenal if it could be instant speed, but we got a 2 and a red sorcery.
And then be a mythic rare?
mythic rare. 2 and a red sorcery. As an additional cost to cast Nerys Wrath, discard X cards. Nerys Wrath deals damage equal to the total converted mana cost of the discarded cards to each of up to X target creatures and or planeswalkers. So, serious burn.
You discard like 3 cards. And I love picturing things that will never happen but are like the worst case scenario. And I'm picturing discarding like 3 Alms of the Vein and then like casting them for the 9 life gain, 9 life loss, and then you can deal 3 damage to up to 3 target creatures or players, and it's just like,
yeah, no, there's a lot of applications for this card. It's just the greatest burn that we've had in a while, at least for sorcery burn. There's plenty of instant burn that's better, but I really like Nerys Wrath just for what it can do for you in terms of madness enabling.
It's insane.
Like you said, Alms of the Vein, or even anything else.
Alms of the Vein's actual convert mana cost is 3.
Yep.
Right, so you're dealing. I said 3 earlier. You're dealing 9 damage.
Yeah, you're not. It's not
up to 3. So you can to each of up to 3. So you could deal 9 after they've already lost 9 life and you've gained 9 life. You could just deal 9 life to them and to 2 of their creatures and like.
What's that? There's suddenly a viable reason
crazy.
For Alms of the Vein to be in standard.
I love Alms of the Vein. Props to Alms of the Vein. I'm sorry, that is a great card.
I agree. It has been a great card. A lot of people in standard though have been like, I just don't see it fitting in the deck. Well, now it does. Something like this will make Alms of the Vein just wicked, because there's been times in my black-red vampire deck where I had multiple Alms of the Veins in my hand, and I was just kind of like,
what do I do with these? It's like, okay, so I need 6 mana.
Yep, 6 mana.
I'm dealing 18 damage to them, I'm gaining 9 life, and I'm dealing 9 damage to 2 creatures.
That has some serious...
For 6 mana.
Serious potential to be a game ender.
Again.
Yeah.
Best case scenario, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I live in best case scenarios.
It's great.
Number 1, pick time. Number 1 for me, Thalia Heretic Cathar. Number 1. If you guys know about the decks that I've been brewing with recently, they've all been mono white humans. It's the deck I plan to take to GP Portland when they come here in August, which will be awesome.
Yeah.
And holy crap. 3 mana, 2 of anything and 1 white for a 3/2 human soldier, legendary human soldier with first strike. And creatures and non-basic lands my opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. What the heck? Oh. So great. I don't even want to talk about how amazing this card will be in that mono white humans deck that I spoke of previously. I'm thinking like she's legendary, so like a 3 of, and it is just
It's
going to be
nuts.
It is just going to be like game ending.
Yeah,
It's like Thalia, and like then you play Thalia's Lieutenant. She's a 4/3 with first strike.
everything you cast,
And
everything
then-
your opponents cast.
Yeah, it's like it shuts down their non-basic lands. It shuts down their creatures.
Westvale Abbey comes into play tapped. Every
Everything.
every non-basic comes out. It's just it is
so great.
really powerful. And again, this is something that I can see in Modern just being absolutely crippling.
Yeah, I can see
because
this in Modern, like a Death and Taxes, or in like
It ruins
some sort
fetches.
of like prison style, like control deck. It's just
It ruins
great.
fetches.
It's so great.
It ruins everything non-basic.
I love it so much. It's like, oh, I'm gonna fetch for my Hallowed Fountain. And it's like, cool, all right. Even if you pay the 2 life, that's still gonna be tapped, friends. So
It's like what happened to you, Thalia? At one point, you were what? Non-creature spells cost 1 less to cast, or was
cost
it
1 more.
1 more to cast?
Yeah, it's always
So it's like-
been aimed at like shutting down.
So it's like, here, we'll slow you down. Oh no, I'm that much more powerful now, and I'm gonna slow everything you do down. She's wicked.
She is. She's so great. Number 1 pick for me, for sure.
And are you ready for my number 1 pick of Eldritch Moon? Well, you're not going to be terribly surprised by it, because it's Liliana, the Last Hope. Liliana, Last Hope is 1 and 2 black for Planeswalker Liliana. She comes into play with 3 loyalty, and her +1 is up to 1 target creature gets -2/-1 until your next turn. Her -2 is put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard, then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. And then her -7 is you get an emblem with, at the beginning of your end step, put X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield, where X is 2 plus the number of zombies you control. So her +1 is a great defender for herself.
I like it. Yeah, she protects herself. She's getting a lot of flack because she's
Yeah.
people. I don't know what it is, but anytime a new Liliana comes out, people compare it to Liliana of the Veil,
Yeah.
and that will never happen again.
No, it's not.
So
It can't.
I feel like we need to let that go. We need to stop comparing Lilianas to the best Liliana
Yeah, I mean,
and appreciate this one for what it is.
unfortunately, she hit her peak at a point where we had no control over her hitting her peak. We didn't know that she was going to be so devastating. And then she's leveling out. I mean, at this point, they're kind of suggesting the idea that this Liliana is the mono-black version of Jace Telepath Unbound. So,
Yeah,
Flipwalker
she
Jace.
does. You know, she does cool stuff. She
Yep.
trades in the power for a toughness reduction, which is very black.
Yep.
She could potentially kill smaller creatures with her +1. Her -2 is great. You can fill your graveyard, which helps enable Delirium, and then you get
Big time.
creatures back. Yeah, I love her.
Yeah, no, she's a really, really great iteration of herself. Probably the best that we've seen since Heretical Healer.
The only that we've seen since Heretical Healer.
That's true, but I mean that in the sense of like all the Lilianas that we have had up through.
Totally.
It was like, you know, Liliana Vess, Liliana of the Dark Realms, Liliana of the Veil, and now we've got Heretical Healer and
Last Hope.
and I think that we're on a steady incline back to a place where she is very strong. And now that she's joined the Magic Justice League, the Gatewatch, you know, we can only expect that there's got to be some power behind it, and I think that's exciting for Liliana. She is still definitely amongst my favorites. So,
And it is really, really good to see a black planeswalker in a heroic position because at least in the most recent sets, black has taken the like villainous role, and it has been a long time since we've seen a black heroic planeswalker, and there can be reasons for a black planeswalker to act heroically while still acting in self-interest and selfishly and all the cool black things that are important. So yeah. I think it's great story-wise, and I think she's a great card.
Thanks for joining us here this week at Mana Central. We hope you enjoyed our top 10 video on our favorite cards for Eldritch Moon. You know, they may not be the most competitive cards, but they're our favorites, and we wanted to give you a different perspective on... Yeah. So...
Don't forget to give us a like, subscribe, leave a comment on what you liked about this video, or topics you'd like for us to cover in future videos.
And be sure to follow us on Twitter, @Mana Central, Facebook, patreon.com/manacentral. And yeah, look forward to more videos coming up here in the very near future. We'll see you guys next time. Post-video discussion. What if Garrick, because she cursed Garrick, he's green-black now. So what if, aside from Ob Nixilis, Garrick becomes the primary black antagonist?
He's still like, I feel like he's still going to be green though. Like,
yeah, I mean, he's still got that primal hunter aspect.
However much he is corrupted, like I still feel like I don't think they'll take him mono black, but you never know. I mean,
well, okay, but then it's kind of to your point.
Liliana, I miss a hero, and she's had a past.
Yeah. And they're shifting Liliana into a hero role, which means that maybe Ob Nixilis will be.
Oh yeah, I think we'll see more of Ob Nixilis. Absolutely, I think he'll come back for seconds or thirds.
Oh yeah, I mean, we didn't kill him off.
I just want to see Nicol Bolas again. Can we get back to Nicol Bolas, please?
Nicol Bolas would be nice.
I mean, we were close when everybody was talking about him in the Tarkir block with Sarkhan and with Ugin. It's like, come on.
What the hell's going on with him anyways that we haven't seen him for the last several blocks? Because, I mean, I know the Eldrazi have been the big baddies for right now.
Big tentacle monsters are important.
But I mean, we haven't, Nicol Bolas is literally, it's like Merit Lage, just dropped off. We're not hearing anything about it. We're not seeing it.
Always comes back to Merit Lage to you.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, it's because Merit Lage was there and then it disappeared. And Nicol Bolas is there. And now, like, even in the Magic storyline right now, we haven't heard anything about Nicol Bolas that I've read.
Yeah, no, it's bad because I mean, like I said, they talked about him in Tarkir, because he and
Ugin and then
a big fight and Yasova helping Nicol Bolas.
When was the last time
we actually saw him in like current story?
Was that Ravnica? Return of Ravnica? No, because that was
he didn't even feature there. Yeah, it was. It had to have been like
Lara?
Yeah,
when he actually
actively participated in anything. Other than like behind this, like when it was in the story when like he was like physically present. I think was Alara.
Yeah, because I mean we had cards that referenced him in Dragons of Tarkir, like Crux of Fate and other cards like that.
But, I don't think he was in Innistrad. I don't think he was. He definitely wasn't in.
No. So
was in Return to Ravnica. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So
I miss him.
Ob Nixilis is probably gonna be the new mono black. And we want, and to summarize, we want Nicol Bolas back.
Yes. Start the Magic petition. Bring back Nicol Bolas. Let's give us those good, compelling bad guys that you love to hate and secretly root for. Just me.
Yeah, just you.
Team Nicol Bolas.
Hashtag Team Nicol Bolas.
Hashtag Team Nicol Bolas. That won't catch on. That's my thing.
I don't know.